leaders, by the very nature of their jobs, are working with lots of people. They have to work with lots of different kinds of people. They have to understand at a more humane level, not just a competency level, what drives people, what motivates people, and how to bring them together.
I may be internally kind of sorting through lots of different things at any different time, processing information, trying to figure out how are we going to solve this particular challenge that we're facing, and yet the people around me need to feel like, I've got this, we've got this, and that is, I consider that to be a big part of leadership, is being that presence for your team.
So I think in leadership roles, you have to be able to give people that sense of belief and hope, because people will run through walls, but they have to believe that there's a possibility, right? That we can be successful, that we can get this thing done.
Someone said to me, always bring your best self. Wow, that, and I say that to my son every morning when he leaves the house. Even on your worst day, you're responsible for bringing your best self to whatever that situation is. I have to be present and make sure that I'm positive for the people I'm around.
Leadership is really about figuring out how they want to be treated and going down that path. So sometimes this isn't really about the kind of person that I am and how I would want to be treated in a situation, as opposed to how other people might want to be treated, because effective communication is not about me talking to you, but working with you.
So we get driven a little bit more by mission. And if you sort of just remind yourself of the mission, I think you can have confidence. That sense that we're doing the right thing.
When I see our vision and our mission coming to life and the people that work with our students every day, that's the stuff that makes me go, yep, we got this.
The first thing that you've got to be able to do is, am I really committed to what we're talking about? Do I have a clear sense of what we're trying to do? Do I have a real vision? And am I committed to making that happen?
For me, it really comes down to culture, the ability to fit and operate effectively within this organization. And so that's different depending on the organization that you're working in, but here in COCE, for us, it's really about, do you have the ability to work effectively across the organization to get things done? Are you really aligned with our mission? I always like to kind of identify what I would consider to be short-term and then longer-term goals. And the short-term goals are really focused on, like, what are the skills and abilities that I feel like I need to be better at in order to kind of get to that longer-term vision of where I want to be. The longer term, I think that's where you got to be flexible, because you will have opportunities that come left, right, and center, and you've got to be willing to say, that's not what I thought I was going to be, but I'm going to go there because that's kind of interesting, and to take that risk because you'll learn from it.
But I've been able to, I think, use my short-term goals to leverage what I know I love to do and to find opportunities where I get to play. And that has kept me, I hope, vibrant in my career.
So I'm not interested so much in people who simply recognize a problem, but people who can say, here's my ability to demonstrate a solution to it, or to propose something that I think is going to work.
I think leaders, as we move up through organizations, are increasingly called upon to be the sort of chief communicators of their units or their areas. People respond obviously to data, into statistics, but what sort of moves people are actually narratives and stories. And if you have to tell the story of the work, the story of the mission, the story of who you're helping, I think clear communication skills, more than simply clarity and mechanically correct writing, but really the ability to knit together the narrative that captures what we're all about.
Number one, I think that the vast majority of issues that you run into with people tends to be lack of communication skills. So that's always going to be number one. How well do they deal with situations and work their way through talking to other people who may see the world a little differently?
That you are able to understand the people you're talking to and regulate yourself to be able to bring out the best in them, and to be able to understand that they may need a little different coaching, they may need a little different motivation, and how you're able to have those conversations to be able to bring it all together.
Many people can pick up the content knowledge and the capability to do various things. Most of the time when people get jobs or interact with people, It's the other skills that they're trying to get at. The ability to communicate, the ability to think critically, the ability to work with teams, the ability to see different worldviews, to have a sense of empathy for those who are not like you. These are the things that are going to make you successful, not only in the workplace, but in life.
And then finally, I think the thing you sort of can't teach, sheer work ethic. We talk a lot about talent, we talk a lot about Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours, and those are all important things, of course. But there are tons of talented people out there who have failed because they don't bring to it the kind of work ethic, that kind of grit and determination. And the most successful people I know put in enormous amounts of effort and time. I say that with the caveat of people also need to be careful of taking care of everything else in their life, right? But work ethic is a critical piece.
Most leaders will tell you that it's in some ways harder to learn from your successes than from your failures because you make the assumption that you did something right. And that's not always going to be true. In fact, a lot of people, when they succeed at things, don't have a tendency to take the critical approach that they need to keep moving forward. Part
of learning is failure. You will struggle at times, and that's also true in your job. And so, as leaders, you've got to create space for people to try things and fail. And they also need to know that they need to feel confident that if they do, that you're not going to come down on them for that, that it's not an all or nothing proposition. We will not always have success in everything that we try.
I need to have a couple of guttural balls every once in a while, hopefully not too many, but enough to know that I'm pushing myself. And I really look at those failures as opportunities where I tried something new or I didn't learn a lesson. So it could go both ways. It could be I'm stretching, or there was something that I did in the past and I just didn't learn what I needed to learn from that.
It always comes back to what have we learned that will help us to do things differently as we move forward, and that's the more important part. It's not beating yourself up over a given moment in time failure or struggle. It's what do you do to get beyond that, and what have you learned from it when you reflect on it.